Hi, my name is Kevin Howard, former stockbroker, current real estate investor. If you're looking at this video, chances are you may be having some challenges in regards to your property and making the payments for your mortgage. We're going to quickly and concisely go to the 5 options essentially that you have in terms of rectifying and bringing a solution to your problem. We'll go over those in small detail. But first, what I want to do is talk a little bit about myself so that you become more familiar with who I am and what I've been through. So, one thing that I've been through personally is through a bankruptcy and a short sale for a property that I owned. So I can understand the challenges and the emotional difficulties that you may be having and to try to make a decision to see what's best to rectify your situation. But alas, I've been there and I know it's tough. What I want to do is I want to show you those options and go into them in a little bit more detail. But first, I'll tell you just a little bit about myself. As noted, I'm a former stockbroker, current life insurance agent, and notary public, mainly focusing on real estate closings. One of the things that I understand, though, is that it can be tough dealing with a financial situation. I've personally had to short sell a property in the past, and I've actually filed for bankruptcy in the past. Neither of those things were easy to go ahead and conduct in terms of the decision making, but alas, those are the decisions I came to. And had I known there were some other options, might have made some different choices. But here today, we're here to talk about what are some of the choices that you have. So let's just go right into it. Your property may be going through a foreclosure process. So you may be 30, 60, or 90 days into default. Depending upon where you're at in that realm, you may have to act sooner than later. For example, if you have a sale date for your property, then you must act because the trustee sale will go on. There are a few things that'll help thin that off in terms of time pushing it back for it to happen, but you have to have a permanent solution for this. Your first solution, simply reinstate the loan by paying up and catching up on your mortgage. Maybe you have to borrow from a friend or a family member in order to do that. But if you can come up with the money, then you'll be able to reinstate that mortgage and then be out of default and thus evaporating your day that you have for your auction. Number 2 is to go ahead and procure a loan modification. So essentially in a loan modification, what they will do is put the old balance that's in arrears, that's in default, on the back end of your loan. So yes, this does end up being a more expensive option in the long run, but what will happen is amount you owe will be put on the back of the loan and you would just simply remain making your normal payments. But that is an option, possibly for you, that makes more sense. Number 3, which I'm not a fan of, is filing for bankruptcy. Filing for bankruptcy may allow you to go ahead and get you the breathing room that you needed. But you must consider that even during that time in filing for bankruptcy, depending on how long it takes for you to conduct that bankruptcy, whether it be 30, 60, or 90 days, remember, those are just added payments that you would have to make payments for. So if you did file bankruptcy today, then that means that in 30 days, that next mortgage payment that you didn't pay is going to increase your balance of owed payments. So that is something that you have to consider. But bankruptcy is an option. Not likely that you want to choose that option, but depending on your situation, you may have to choose that option in order to stop the sale of your home. Option 4 is probably the option that you've been presented with the most, which is to just simply sell your home to an investor. Okay. Well, one of the things you could do is sell it to an investor or list that property. Okay. But then, of course, you would be no longer having your residence and you have to find somewhere new, pick up and move your life. And maybe that's not something that's really foreseeably beneficial for you because maybe you have kids or maybe you're near a hospital that you're getting yourself or an elderly parent care for. You need to be close to that place and maybe you need to stay in your residence. So maybe selling your home really isn't even an option for you the way you look at it, depending upon your situation that you're currently dealing with. Number 5 is what we call subject to. Subject to is just what it sounds like. So you will have a loan that's subject to something. So in this instance, what would happen is you would have an investor that would come and bring you up to date on your payments. So bring you out of arrears. And then that owner would take ownership of the property. Now, you're probably saying, well, how does this help me out? Well, this is how it helps you out. Basically, once that owner owns that property, they have a few options that they can work with you. And these are things that you will work out ahead of time before signing any contracts or agreeing to any type of agreement. So one of those options could be simply a lease option where they bring you out of arrears. The investor takes ownership of the property and they simply rent your property back to you. Okay, that's one. Another method is to be able to have a lease buyback option. So essentially what will happen is they will lease it to you for a predetermined time that you guys will discuss. It might be a year, 2 or 3 years. And then after that time period, you would be eligible to go ahead and, or actually during any of that time period, you may be eligible to go ahead and purchase your property back. Okay, giving you some breathing room. Third option in subject to, and there are many options, but these are the most likely for a lot of people that will be most beneficial to them in their situation. The third one is within a subject to transaction. What could happen is that property owner could now go ahead and give their property over to the investor after they, of course, have paid up the arrears and brought the loan current, and then make an agreement and say, hey, what we're going to do is we're going to renovate this home or condo, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to sell it. Okay. And then what will happen is you guys will have some type of joint venture agreement where you will actually receive some of those proceeds as a result of the sale. Now, these last 3 options within subject to, if these sound like something that would be plausible to you, definitely reach out. We have a team of experts that deal with subject to. I have people that can help you with a bankruptcy if you need to file for bankruptcy. As you know, filing for a bankruptcy can cost $2,500 to $5,000, just depends on what attorney you're dealing with. You can also deal with paralegals and other legal professionals that don't cost as much. I have those as well. Getting a loan modification, we have those resources as well. We have desired contacts to enable you to explore that option and flesh that out. The main thing you want to remember here is that you want to look at all the options, put all the options on the table and see what makes the most sense. These 5 that I showed you are just an illustration of the most likely options. There's a plethora of variation within those options, but you need to make a decision because you want to get the process started sooner than later. You don't want to be in a situation where you're literally hours away from your property being taken from underneath you and changing the fabric of how your life is currently operating. If you need help and you want a sincere attempt to try to rectify the problem that's most beneficial to you and not just the investor that may be coming along, reach out to me and my team. We'd love to have a conversation with you. The consultation costs $0. That's it. $0 to have a conversation to explore your options to see what might be the most viable for you. I hope you were able to learn something from this video. I'll be posting more content to go ahead and give you more detail as we go ahead and explore some of these other options in the future. Talk to you soon. Thank you for taking your time to look at this content. Hopefully you can make a great decision for yourself and your family.